Hi, and welcome to 3dmotive.com. My name is Stephen G. Wells, and I'm a senior character artist. In this little tutorial, we're going to take a look at setting up materials in Marmoset Toolbag. Marmoset Toolbag is a great little in-game renderer. It's where you can take your models as OBJs, export them, bring them into Marmoset. You can apply your textures, normal maps, and all that, and then set up lights even if you want. And it gives you a good approximation of what your model will end up looking like, more or less, in an actual game. So it actually comes in handy. And something I like to use a lot after I've done modeling a character or something. I like to check it out in Marmoset, see how it looks. That way I can make changes if I need to or exaggerate certain features, etc. We're looking at a particular model that I use a lot when I'm teaching. It's a Lord of the Rings type troll. It's a basic model. It's actually a very old model that I use, but it looks pretty good, and so I thought I'd go ahead and use it for this particular tutorial. So let's go ahead and take a look at the interface and go from there. As you can see, the interface for Marmoset is pretty straightforward. I mean, you have the viewport, the 3D viewport. You can rotate by using your left mouse Alt. You can pan with middle mouse Alt, and you can zoom with right mouse Alt. It's the same controls that you get in Maya, so Maya users should be pretty happy with it. It gives you a default light, obviously, because this model has shadows, etc. There are no textures applied to it as yet, so it comes in as a grayscale model. You have your particular, this is the particular file palette, shows where you can open meshes, open certain scenes, etc. If you want your model to end up, if this is a file that you want to use again and again, after we create the materials, we'll actually save the scene, because that way, next time you want to open this model where everything's already set, you just have to click the Open Scene button and you'd load your particular file, and it'll come in with all the textures already on it. It actually comes in really handy. In this case, we have no textures on it, so of course it's grayscale. We haven't set anything up at this point. If you click on the output, you can see some of the different settings you can do for including UIs, and this is, you can actually do a turntable rendering of this. For the material, you'll get different palettes. This is the material palette on this side, and this is the parameters of it. In this area, you see chunks. This is the different pieces of your actual model. If I click on the armor, you can see the armor just highlighted. The troll highlights. It doesn't stay highlighted. It just selects it so you can see that that's what it was. That's the ground, and there's the axe just lit up. Okay. We have it's a default materials. We have no materials set up at this point as yet. So let's go ahead and actually set up. This is actually going to have 4 different materials, because this has 4 different textures. There's a texture for the troll. There's one texture for the armor. There's one texture for the axe. And then there's a texture for the ground. And the ground actually has a little bit of alpha on it. So we'll go ahead and take a look at, let's load that in and start saving some of the materials so we have it for our scene. So how we do that would be, it's very simple. Let's first go to the file. We're going to go ahead and save our scene. And I'm going to go ahead and just call this troll. And it's going to save it as a .tbag, which is toolbag. So that's just the particular nomenclature that Toolbag uses, Marmoset Toolbag uses. So that's fine. We'll go ahead and set up the materials now. Let's go ahead and we're going to create a new material. We're going to call this troll. Because this is going to be for the troll body. We're going to go ahead and just save it. So now it loads up. We have this troll material. Now we don't have any textures on it yet. We're going to do that by clicking this button here, diffuse. We're going to go to where our texture is. In this case, it's this TGA right there. I'm going to load it up. It does have a normal map, which is right here, the troll N_2048. So I want to make sure that's in. And it does have a spec map, which will load in as well. Now, spec map doesn't show up, of course, unless you click the use specularity, but you'll see that in a second. Anyway, right now it doesn't apply to anything because I don't have anything selected. So if I select the troll body and I select the troll material and click on the apply selected material, you can see it just applied. It applies to everything sometimes as a default, and that's okay because it just means we're setting the scene up, so we're quite okay with that at this point. Let's go ahead and turn on the use specularity because there's a little speck on the body itself of the troll. And we'll actually change the specular color. I'm going to take it down a little bit so it's not quite so bright. All right, we went ahead, since we're selected on the troll material, we want to go ahead and just click Save Material. We want to make sure we save that, okay? All right, so we know another new material. In this case, we're going to call it Armor. Okay, so in this case, we need to add in our armor. So here's the troll armor. D is the underscore for diffuse, N is normal, S is specular. That's my particular naming convention, but a lot of companies actually do it that way as well. Going to add in the normal map and the spec map. Okay, let's grab the armor material, and apply. So you can see it changed it instantly. Really nice. Let's go ahead and use the specular as well. It's a little high on the specular. We can crank that down just a little bit. Okay, and we're going to make sure we click Save Material. All right, new material. In this case, we'll call it the axe because we have an axe in the scene. We'll add the diffuse. We have an axe bloody D, which is diffuse, so we'll put that in there. The normal map and the spec map. All right, let's go ahead and grab the axe material, apply, and we're going to turn on the spec, and we can turn that down just a little, and let's make sure we save that material. So now that's saved. By the way, sometimes your models, I mean, you can alt, like I said, alt left will rotate around like Maya. But if for some reason your model comes in a little bit wonky or you need a different angle, if you hold down your control key, just hold down your control key, you get this circle. You can actually spin outside of that circle and actually rotate your model, or I should say the view of your model, this way if you would like. It's just a fun little feature. You can actually then rotate within it as well, and it actually goes to a center point. But it's something else to have handy. Again, it's control, and then you can just left click outside of it, just spin it on one axis or spin it around this axis. Fun thing to do. Okay, anyway, so we have the axe. Let's go ahead and make sure that we save that material. And then we're going to have one more material, and this is going to be the ground material. So we'll just call that ground, save it. Let's add in the diffuse on the ground, which is this particular one. I'm going to add in the normal map, add in the spec. Okay, let's make sure we've got that on. Let's grab the ground, grab our ground material, and apply. Now, right now, we're going to hit the save. Right now, you can see this doesn't have any alpha on it right now. And that's fine. It's just because this particular one, the blend mode, we need to switch it. You can actually see what happens when you switch it. You're multiplying. This is like in Photoshop when you're adding with the effects, multiplying it. The alpha is the one I want. If I select alpha, you can see now we have that alpha edge. So it's not a hard edge on the model at all. Yeah, that will work just fine for what we need. Okay, so I'm going to make sure we also save that material. I want to go back to the file. I want to make sure I'm just going to resave this particular file so that we've got everything in it. And also you can do it this way too. The save mesh and materials. This little red button here that saves everything at once, and it comes in handy. Again, this is just an idea of what your model is going to look like in game. Of course, we're nowhere near done. We have to switch on our light. Right now, the particular preset for this is dawn. If I change the lighting to, say, sunlight, it now obviously goes dark, etc., because the model is seeing the light from the back of the model. See, as we can rotate around, we can see it in the back. The light is in the back of the model. In order to be able to move that towards the front, we have to click this little button here, Sky Rotation. And you see how we can rotate that around? And we can change the intensity down a little bit. That's a little bright. But we can actually affect, where the shadows are going to be on the model by depending on what time of day we want the sky to be. Okay? There are a number of different presets for the lighting. There's blue sky ambiance, which kind of tints everything with the blue, and then you have to adjust, the brightness of the light, etc. But it has a blue hue. There's a riverside ambiance actually that tends to be pretty good too. And again, it's rotating depending on where you want your light source to be. There's several different ones you can run through on this. Pavement, and then you rotate around a little bit. Just depends on what you want to have, what sort of look you want to have for your particular model. If I go to my material, let's go ahead and select the troll material itself. I'm going to turn up the spec a little bit, and same on the armor. I'm going to turn up the spec a bit. Get a little more shine in there. You can see it right there. And I'm going to make sure I just go ahead and save that material again, and we're just going to save that again. But there you go, just a simple, quick, basic introduction to getting your materials onto your model and saving it out in Marmoset. Hope this has been fun for you. And again, this has been 3dmotive.com. My name is Stephen G. Wells.